notion. Now, we want to start this morning, and as always, I am excited every single morning coming here. Some days not so much, some other days, woo, you can't even get me out of it. And this morning is one of those days you really can't get me out of it. Why? Because what we will do this morning is the inauguration 10th Assembly, the 10th Senate is on the commences and the so take a on here. They're all that's the things that you know and things that you do here.
And do you know? Do you know?
Good morning. What are your reservations about, or against rather, the modes of transportation in River State? Now, River State and Lagos State share a lot of similarities. They are both, around the coastal regions of the country, and there's a very healthy population in both cities. Talking about the major city of Lagos and Port Harcourt. But there are some differences, apart from the cultural differences and the nuances of maybe what people eat and how they dress. There are other differences, particularly when it comes to preferences, economics of scale, scale of preference. How was that being taught to me as a younger child? Opportunity cost. And things like that. How and the reason why people will buy A and not B. This morning on the Office Beat, we're going to talk a little bit about the air travel apathy, apparent or reported air travel apathy in River State. Now, recently, I got this piece of information from the NCAA and indeed from the MBS. Also, some reports on the pages of This Day newspaper, and it shows that a total number of 16,172,433 passengers went through Nigeria's airports in 2022, which was an increase of about 15 million from 2021. Don't forget, 2020 and 2021, bad year for aviation all across the globe. Some airlines, had to close shop. True no fault theirs. COVID hit and all that. But before COVID and even after COVID comes the very real question that pertains to Nigerians. Now, for the larger population, air travel is for the bourgeoisies. It's for the elites. It's an elitist form of travel. Road transport is the most common use of mode of transportation in Nigeria. The road traffic depends on the pattern of human settlement, accounting for, wait for it, more than 90%. 90% of the subsector's contribution to the GDP of this country. 90%. More than. Food largely comes in trucks. Your clothes largely come in trucks. Your shoes in trucks. You're going to your friend's father's funeral or wedding celebration. There's a very high chance that you're going to travel to that location by bus or with your own personal vehicle. But for those smaller population, the bourgeoisies, the elitists, right? It does seem that a lot of the travel does take place between Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. Yes, there are airports in Owerri, there are airports in Enugu, there are airports in Kano, Maiduguri, and all these other places. Even Kaduna, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes, there are airports in all of these centers. But the bulk of the travel located and centered between Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja. But in Port Harcourt, interestingly, the numbers are not as high as our counterparts in Lagos. In fact, some would even say there's a sense of, normalcy for Lagosians to always travel. Now, there are a few reasons why some people may not like to travel by air, right? If you've had stories and probably seen reports of, accidents and stuff, air crashes, it can be very scary, So some people, they rather take their chances. But let me state this, all right, unequivocally state this morning, that air travel is still the safest means of travel that we have right now. It is still the safest means. So why then is there an apparent apathy towards air travel? And let's even take it further. Did you know that there are some Nigerians, there are some people in this Port Harcourt here that we're talking about this morning, right? They would tell you, and I've had a few people say this, that they cannot travel to these places, so there's no flights to those places. Now, it may come across as being, like I said, bourgeois, snobbish, standoffish, elitist, whatever ist you want to add to it. But maybe there are genuine worries to those modes of transportation. And let's not forget, we also have travel by the waterways. We have creeks here. A lot of rivers people will go to Bonny, will go to Bonima, will go to Bonny, all the other creeks, I beg your pardon, around this area by boat, not by road. So, let's find out from you why you don't like, if at all, you don't like any of the means or modes of transportation. Which one do you have a fear of? Which one don't you want to get involved with? Is it road? Is it sea? Or is it by air?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
As always, do well. Turn down the volume of your radio set. Refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments. If you didn't see it or hear it, please do not make mention of it. Do not make unsubstantiated and unverified claims. Now, the numbers to call 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on Twitter. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on Twitter. All right, join the conversation. My question this morning is this: to talk about business and how people like to travel these days. Everybody needs to get from point A to point B. Transportation is big business. However, there are some who have some, grievances, some maybe fear, apathy to the various modes of transportation that we have, either by road, by land, by sea, or by air. When we talk about land, we're also talking about normal motorways and indeed railways. All right, railway has become very popular in recent years, but not as popular, interestingly, as people getting on the bus and going down to wherever it is that they're going to, accounting once again for 90%, over 90% of that sector. So what exactly is the issue here in Port Harcourt with the, in quotes, air travel and other modes of transportation? Do you not like to travel by air, or is it only the cost? Let's find out from you this morning. 90.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Yeah, Mr. Zion, good morning to you.
Good morning, Zion.
I think one is the fare, and number two, safety, especially of the air. Let me use the air. There was a time that the air transportation from Port Harcourt to Lagos was 15K, 20K, from Port Harcourt direct, yes. That period, the air speed was booming.
But Zion, even at that time, I remember I was pretty young then. Even at that time, I'd heard people talk about it is too expensive to travel by air. 15,000 naira. Where from here to Abuja at that time was 5,500. I'll use the whole 15.
Yes, that is also based on the kind of trip you want to go, where you are going, your kind of business. The airports were busy then, at least. I used it several times. Rush to Abuja, come back, rush to Lagos, come back, down to Port Harcourt. So you found out that the proximity of the business services was okay. And to a large extent, we also considered the safety. Now, for the road aspect, when this night journey was introduced, a lot of us patronized it also, especially going to Lagos. You go in, they live in the night, as well like good night Port Harcourt,
and good morning Lagos. Yeah.
So you see, it was kind of easy, and the flow of business was so articulate. And then the safety was okay. No Boko Haram, no S-men attack, and so on. So people were freely doing their business. We were okay with it. But when the attack on buses, kidnapping from the East-West Road, Ondo, Benin, Edo area, and so on, people became scary. So what do? We now reverted back to the air flight. Before you know, the price hiked. And of course, it affected a lot. So it is the transportation warfare and the safety and the security aspect. Those are the things that consider the kind of transportation system.
Zan, before I let you go, right now I've heard similar arguments to what you made mention. I've even read a few, but I also saw online that the stats, maybe it's the population of Lagos, but we're looking at the percentage. But the stats show more people, right, brave the risk that you just made mention in Lagos than they did in Port Harcourt. There were more movements in percentage, not just numbers now, in percentage over the past 2 years and 3 years than they were in Port Harcourt. So why are Port Harcourt people scared of moving? If Lagos people can, brave the kidnapping on the road, they brave whatever it is on the road or the cost of the flights, they still go.
You see, this aspect, of course, we can't stop business people. Business, see, I've seen a situation, somebody made a comment that even as there is crisis in Russia, our brothers from the southeast are ready to go there to go and pick the shells of the bullets for what?
Port Harcourt.
No, it is both sides. The only truth that the Lagos is trying to conquer us is because of their active seaport. That is what. If nobody seaport, and let me use the what the next one get the Lagos.
Okay, all right, Zion. That's Zion's view this morning. So this happy saying, what about this morning? Hello, Port Harcourt returns. Of 9 o'clock. We'll give you an update in the coming periods. In inauguration of the 10th Senate this morning. The voting, you know how they go. There's going to be emotions. There's going to be favors. Canvassing here, hugs, answers, and arguments. But later on, not too distant in future, we should get the latest from the National Assembly. So you stay here on 2.3 Nigeria Info PA. But before we get there, let's talk about how people go where they want to go to. Now, within Port Harcourt, within River State, it is without a doubt that 95% of the time, 98% of the time, most people are use a bus, a taxi to go from point A to point B. Yes, when you get to Abundant, from when you get to the jetty, those of you who are going to be getting into the creeks, and when you get to NLNG and you want to take a boat, a good boat that will take you all the way to Bonny, yes, you will now have to go via the waterways. But by and large, most people will travel with the roads. Now, the trains started to pick up a few years ago. Now, a lot of people have, a preference to a bus, train, air travel, or by boat, right? Right now in the country, we are limited to those forms of transportation. However, some who are comfortable with one or the other for several reasons. It could be a function of the pricing. Also, it could be also a function of perception. Like I said, I have heard several people who have mentioned that it is a bit too inconvenient to travel by road to Lagos, to Abuja, and do that so uncomfortable. If there's no flights, please I'd rather send a message. Yes, maybe because of this insecurity, maybe because of the cost. Again, some people are going to either choose one or the other. But in Port Harcourt, interesting, in River State, which is where we're focusing on, business or pleasure alike, it does seem that maybe it's just the money alone that makes people take a particular type of mode of transportation. If you get to the international airport right now, so maybe just making domestic flight, maybe they're going to the country. But it's not for other reasons. Well, let's find out.
Stimulating and insightful conversations. Hello, Port Harcourt. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, Let's talk.
So 017923179230007. Those are the numbers you can use. There's a call screener. Just drop your name and your location, and we're going to talk to you. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on Twitter. At Nigeria Info is where you find us on Facebook and 19230002 0817923 00179230002 WhatsApp and Telegram available 08004 and Telegram. So let's take comments right now, shall we, on that particular platform. I've seen messages here from Charles from Rodriguez. Okay, so that was Rodriguez this morning. Rodriguez said, I don't think I can travel to sea again. I did it for 8 hours. I always prefer air travel. It's faster. It's safe to it's cost here in Nigeria. I'm curious, Rodriguez, where do you go by sea for 8 hours? Is it within Nigeria? Because I'm trying to imagine where would they go to sea? You know, the waterways in this country are going to be 8 hours. I think Bunny, but the longest I'm off. Please, I don't travel by sea very often. All right, but it's not 3 hours by sea. You go by the big boats. Isn't it 3 hours? So I'm genuinely curious. Please tell me, where did you travel to that spent 8 hours on water? I am curious. Please, I really want to get it. Okay, all right. Good morning, Jude. For me, I am not phobic to any means of transportation. My reason is that I
know they call local that is about that maybe water.
But wouldn't the sun be roasting the people as they are moving on the water?
No, Jude. It is that over here we have two types of these local boats. We have the like and bring both sides, all the sides. Even if it's raining, they will just roll down the choose the other summer rain. Except the roofs are leaking. Except so. No problem. Okay, so Michael, let me ask you, right? Because I did go to some places in Port Harcourt over the past few weeks trying to gather this information before we have this conversation. And some people, just like you said, say not comfortable because yes, I have my life. I'm from those traditions. Most times there's this popular aromatic